Today we are standing in a grove of shagbark hickory. I'll tell you more about those in just a few moments, but first I want to tell you how we discovered the spot. Uh, about 11 years ago, I think it was in 2009 in the fall, Mr. Bamberger approached me, had to approach me several times as I was very busy, but he approached me about the possibility that he had discovered some rock art, some Native American uh, paintings on the cliff face near this location. Once I had enough time to go investigate, he brought me down to this location, and before I ever got to his rock art, I saw these trees and immediately told Mr. Bamberger that, hey, we have found something different. And then we looked at the rock art, and come to find out it was just lichens, very cool lichens, growing in concentric rings, very special. But in my opinion, these trees are more special, and let me tell you why. Shagbark hickory is not known to be commonly in this area. This is not part of its historic range, as far as we know in the past few hundred years. The closest populations of shagbark hickory to this location that we are aware of are in the mountains of northern Mexico and far east Texas. So the question is, how did they get here? The theories we have are just a couple. One is that this is just a remnant population or colony that survived here because of this very sheltered location on this north-facing slope, which is a cooler slope and therefore has more moisture, but also sheltered from the strong winds. That is surviving here from a past time when our climate was different, when our climate was cooler and more moist. So that's theory number one. Theory number two, which I like to subscribe to more, but it'd be hard to test, is that this colony came about from one seed that was either dispersed here or dropped here either by animals moving across the area or maybe even by, and this may be romanticizing a little bit, but maybe by those Native Americans that supposedly did this rock art that turned out to be lichens. But maybe this was a spot where they sheltered for a night or an evening. It is a nice sheltered spot, and maybe they in one of their sacks or carry-on luggage, they had some hickories that they had collected from one of the other populations, and somehow one of those nuts escaped them and was naturally planted here and has grown up to be this beautiful colony that we see today. One reason that I lean towards that hypothesis versus the climate hypothesis is that we have had a PhD, a doctor. His name is Dr. Grocki, and I'm probably pronouncing that incorrect. I apologize to him if I butchered his name. But he came once we discovered these. I did a little research and found out that this guy, Dr. Grocki, is a specialist in Caria, which is a genus for hickories, pecans, and walnuts. And so I invited him out, and he was excited to come out after I sent him some pictures of the leaves, because he was, in his opinion, at that point in time, without coming to look at them, that this was a rare opportunity to discover a new population of these hickories. He came out, he took genetic samples across the entire colony, took little bark samples, little genetic material, went back and did the tests, and come to find out this, like a grove of aspens, this is all one individual. So multiple trunks, but one plant. Every trunk is genetically the same, which lends us to think that this was one tree sometime in the past that through rhizomes, through the roots, has sent up multiple trunks to colonize this entire area. Very cool. Another one of our favorite locations here on the ranch.
In my culture in Bulgaria, the night is a dark, scary, unfriendly place. And so you would see older folks, your parents says, you just don't do that at night. Like, don't walk out of the house at night. Don't stay in the field or in the forest at night. And so you carry that with yourself. As a kid, I was terrified of the darkness. I remember like a really long time the light had to stay on before I went to sleep because I was just terrified of the darkness.
Music bed.
I'm a bad biologist who works at night. You know, I crawl through creepy crawly caves and I work with creepy crawly things. And for a big part of my early life, I struggled with that seeming apparent conflict.
Music bed.
And that seeming paradox at the same time very meaningfully explains who I am and how I go about the work that I do. For me, the personal discovery of what bats are came by combining technological innovation and capabilities that pull the curtain on this incredible creature and allow us to share, to learn, and to share just how unusual they are. I'm a person that lives and breathes technology. And yet, it's not beyond me to pause and reflect on the natural around us. And in each of these opportunities to point these instruments, cameras, scanners, you learn so much and you see so much that we had never seen before. Amazing nature unfolds itself in front of you. It's the opportunity to take from it, but also to give back and protect.
Music bed.
I will never forget when my advisor first showed me a cave of Brazilian free-tailed bats.
Music bed.
All of this was just like this mess of an experience. And so, by now the cave, after these 17 years of working there, is like I know exactly what's in there, and it's that mixture of disgusting and amazing at the same time. If you overcome the heat and the stench and the
Music
creepy
bed.
crawly stuff all around you and your boots getting stuck in the shit and all that stuff, if you overcome that, then there's so much to see there. Dark is my space, my time. Is it possible to have an any more bizarre kind of contradiction of personality and characters? I think about that a lot.
Music bed.
Welcome to our chiroptorium. Now that's a funny sounding word, isn't it? Especially when you see me standing in front of what is clearly a bat cave. But chiroptorium comes from the word chiroptera. It means hand wing. When you look at a bat's hand, you can clearly see all the phalanges, or actually underneath that wing sheath. Okay? And then torium is like an auditorium or a natatorium. It's a gathering place to watch that. So we actually invented our own word out here, the chiroptorium. And now Mr. Bamberger had this vision. He wanted his own bat cave. Okay? He loves bats. He's really involved with Bat Conservation International, and he scoured the ranch all over the place saying, where's the best place to try this? Because this is the world's first and the world's largest man-made bat cave. It is home to over 400,000 Mexican free-tailed bats. The emergences last anywhere from 12 to 40 minutes on a given night. Right now, here we are in June. So we've got babies in the cave. We've got adults flying out that have to feed those babies. It's been hot, it's been dry, so we're hoping that we'll be able to catch an emergence.
be too careful with all those weirdos around.
I'm Batman.